Shaila, do you have any questions? You can ask. Switch on your video and you can speak if you have any question. You need to unmute yourself.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hello. Good afternoon, Shaila. You have any question? Please switch on your video.
Ma'am, here it's power cut, ma'am, so I can't.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm from Tamil Nadu, ma'am.
Okay. Nice meeting you, Shaila. How are you liking the course?
Yeah, it's pretty good, ma'am, but I'm trying to connect this content with memes, ma'am. Will it fit with memes?
I don't get you. Memes as in connect how?
Like cognitive linguistics, the entire topic with the creation of memes.
You can. Yes, you can. Depends on the perspective you take. So if you think of memes as a figurative way of expressing a thought, probably you can connect it that at that level, or you can also look at it as a pictorial metaphor, for example. So these memes are typically a metaphoric expression, as far as I understand. So they are metaphoric. So basically, it is in the domain of pictorial metaphor. Sometimes you also have audiovisual. Both components are part of the meme. So in that case, also it will be related. Yes, but it all entirely depends on what perspective you are taking. But from a theoretical perspective, yes, they can be considered sort of a pictorial or a visual metaphor, multimodal metaphor for that matter.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaila. I see Nivedita. Good afternoon, Nivedita. If you have a question, you can please go ahead.
Hi, ma'am. I just wanted to know if
can
there are.
Can you switch on your video? It is so that
Yeah,
I can
sure.
see.
Ma'am, can you see me? Am I visible now?
Not yet. Maybe something is. Yeah. Yes, I can see your forehead.
No. Ma'am, actually, I'm really sorry to say that I'm totally new to NPTEL platform. So I would like to know if there are notes available for the content. I mean, apart from the video, can we download notes to prepare for the exams?
Notes, as of now, we haven't really been told anything on this front by NPTEL. So maybe you do direct your questions to the officials. I can take up questions on the subject matter.
Okay, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
There are also lots of references at the end of each slide. So you can follow them up. You will be getting all the relevant and up-to-date literature for each topic. So that is how I have added the references. So references have the classic seminal papers as well as the latest, some of the latest. Of course, giving everything will be too exhaustive. It will be difficult. But there are most relevant papers are there. So if you want, you can always follow it up.
Sure, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Nice meeting you, Nivedita.
You too, ma'am. Thank you. Yes.
Sanghamitra Bhatt.
Yes,
ma'am. Good afternoon, Sanghamitra.
Yeah.
If you have any questions. Yeah, please switch on your video so that I can see you. It makes things easier. Please switch on your video.
Yeah.
Yes, good afternoon, Sangamitra.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes,
no, ma'am, it's all okay. I'm following you nicely. But yes, that note part that Nivedita just now said, that is the only thing if we can have. So it would be better study, though I take a screenshot of all the slides that you put and try to follow from that.
I guess you can download the slides as well. The video, I think they are available.
Yes, they are available.
Format or something, yeah.
Ma'am, can I interrupt for a second? This is Nivedita. I think, yeah, definitely we can download the video, but I don't think we can download the content of the video. I mean, the slides as such.
Yes, that's why I do screenshot.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the only option, I think.
Yeah, this needs to be addressed to NPTEL team.
We're just worried about the exams, ma'am, to be frank.
No, don't worry about the exams because it is again, majority of it is MCQ type. So it will cover, part of it is connected to the assignments you have already done. So like that. So you will find a lot of connections to the previous assignments. So very simple multiple choice questions. At the end, there will be some questions where you have to write a bit. So we have put it like very short, not too much. Maximum is 200 words, but even 150 is good enough as far as I am concerned. The reason for putting subjective type questions, a few questions at the end, is because to see how you connect the dots. Right, a course like this needs a bit of explanation. So like that only. So it's very simple, short answer, 100, 150, 200, maximum 200, not more than that. So there you can write, you can use your own understanding of the topics, and there you go. So it's simple. Don't worry, it's not tough at all. I just hope I have made sense to in the lectures. So then it will be very easy.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. Thanks.
Thank you.
I think for those lengthy questions only, we need to take notes, and really, as you said, it's about connecting the dots. So there should be a flow of information. For that reason only, I either take notes of your lecture and take the screenshot, and then I take help of Google to search so that I can write the answers.
Yeah, no, it will be easy. It will be, I think, I'm sure it will be easy if you have followed it all. Yeah, the technicalities I'm not very sure about. NPTEL looks after all the things like what can be downloaded and what cannot be. So it's, I don't really have a role to play there.
Yes, ma'am, your explanations and all are really good. I'm enjoying your course.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
But one thing I have, one observation I have, initial chapters or initial week contents, they're very simple. But as it progresses, at present we are in week 6 that I'm doing, it's getting complex. Lots of complexities from biology and all are involved.
Yes.
It's getting complex.
Yes, actually, that is how we have built it up. In the beginning, we set the fundamentals in place, and then gradually because this domain of this particular discipline, it's not just cognitive linguistics, it's also cognitive neuroscience of language, and it's also psycholinguistics. So I tried to imbibe the best of all these three disciplines, trying to keep it as what do you say, easy to follow as possible. But yes, at some times you cannot avoid the jargon, and also I did not try to water it down too much, because then the you will miss out on the important aspects of the latest research. So yes, I understand, I agree with you. Towards the end, last few lectures are a little complicated because we are heavily dependent on neuroscience. So there are some jargons, there are some things, and yes, it is a little complicated, I agree. But I hope it is worth it. I mean, I have tried to put in as much information, keeping the language, culture, and cognition, these three things constant, how all these three disciplines have dealt with it. That was the goal. So yes, it does get a little
quite
complicated.
Evident.
Yes.
Your goal is quite evident from the course. Madam, I want to do some research in it. I want to research. How can I do something? Can I be associated with you for some research in this matter?
Like for PhD or something? In what?
I did my PhD, but just...
Okay. Okay. Yeah, sure. We can, you can, if you think of something, some topic where we can jointly work, you can always connect with me. My
Okay,
email ID you probably have, or you can write it down. It's Bidisha, Bidisha.
Just a minute, ma'am. Just a minute.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am. Tell me.
Bidisha, Bidisha @iitg.ac.in. So you can always connect over internet and discuss and take this forward. And I'd be happy to be associated with any research idea that you have.
Okay. At present, is there any project that you are doing in topic like this?
Yeah, this is my research area. I primarily work in bilingualism, but I also work on cognitive control with respect to both bilingualism as well as monolingual participants. So processing is my area. And yeah, in many of the associated areas we work on, it's entirely experimental work that we do. Which includes both eye tracking. We're also working on EEG right now, and alongside the behavioral, the reaction time type of studies. So yes, it is entirely experimental, but processing is the starting point that we take. It can be any kind of processing, whether it is metaphor processing or bilingual, word processing, sentence processing. There are many domains that we work on. So what is your background like?
Mine, ma'am, my background is all literature. I did my PhD in literature only, but at present I'm working in engineering college for long. So that literature is lost. I am into linguistic and language only, and I'm very much interested in it. So if there is any project that you are dealing with at present, if there is something that I can do and can collaborate with you, definitely, ma'am, I would be more than happy to do that.
Sure. I would be also very happy to work collaborate with you. Let's connect on through email. You can tell me about your interest areas and where are you from? Which place? Which college you are teaching?
I'm teaching in Government Engineering College, Rajkot, Gujarat.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Yes, we can always connect and take this forward. There are so many interesting domains of work that are happening right now. So you just let me know what area you would be interested in, then we can discuss on this and take it forward.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Nice meeting you, Sanghumitra ji.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, welcome. Priyanka Kumari, welcome. Do you have any questions for me? Priyanka Kumari, good afternoon, Priyanka. Do you have any question? Priyanka, if you are speaking, you need to unmute yourself first and also switch on your video so that I can see you. Since Priyanka doesn't have any question.
Oh, sorry, ma'am. I do have the question now. Actually, the schema video, I couldn't get that, ma'am.
Priyanka, can I see your face? Please switch on your video.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Wait, within a minute, ma'am. Within a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, good afternoon, Priyanka. Yeah.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. Ma'am, all the videos which you have posted till yet are very clear to me, but schema portion, I couldn't get that, ma'am. I'm so sorry, but I couldn't get that.
Yeah, schema is nothing but the skeleton of an experience, let's say. Skeleton as in the very fundamental core idea that can underlie a lot of experiences. So typically what happens in human life is that if you notice, a lot of things keep happening again and again. A lot of things are recurring, right? So the brain is very smart, a machine that tries to understand, that tries to optimize all these things. So what happens, we are only giving it a name, but this already exists. What happens is that you have, for example, I think I have said the same thing in the video also. For example, a movement across, movement from one point to another by any agent. Agent as in if somebody is moving by their own volition. A human agent, for example, can move from one place to another if they want to. So I am going from home to market. This is a simple thing in life. And you will see, if you just think of it in terms of movement of an agent from point A to point B, just keep that in mind. Forget everything else. Keep only that in mind, and you will see this is what recurs in life across participants, across time, space, you name it. So things move. For example, a dog running from one building to another, humans going from one location to another. Because of wind, leaves moving from one location to another, sand moving from one place. So this particular thing about core understanding of what is movement, what is locomotion, for example, is one kind of a schema. Schema is a difficult sounding, smart sounding name, a jargon that we have given to it, the scientists have given to it, but it is nothing but understanding a lot of manifestations of a single type of experience. In this case, movement. So movement always has a source, always more often than not, it has a goal and there is a path. So source, path and goal. This is one of the image schemas. If you have understood this, then you can understand a lot of experiences that fits that, as I have just said. Similarly, container is another schema. Schema, because we humans, when they talk, they don't think about acha ye schema and let us put it like this. That's not how it works. But for us hapless linguists, we look at it like this. So if you take the sentence and then back form what is the fundamental understanding behind this sentence, then you see a particular understanding can have n number of manifestations. So image schema of containment, for example. Containment is in English language, in, the preposition in is used to notify, to denote containment. So, there are biscuits in this jar. I am sitting in the room. I am in a meeting. You can, I am in trouble. There is, we have some water in this bottle. So all these things, there is X containing Y. But in Hindi also, tension mein ho. I hope you speak Hindi, understand Hindi. So tension mein hona is also understood as a, you being inside tension. So tension is that container which has you inside it. Now, if you understand this, then you see a lot of manifestations of the same thing is possible. So this is what is image schema. It is image, it's called image schema. The understanding of schema is very old, as I have explained in the thing. But image schema is a relatively new term that is given by linguists because it is imagistic in nature. You have a picture in your mind, there is something, there is a container in which there is something. That's it, simple, nothing else is there, right? And then you can build it up. So the way we connect, let's say, frame and image schema, I often give the example in my classes here. It's like the frame is the sumo wrestler and the image schema is the skeleton of the sumo wrestler. So it can be, the frame can be a sumo wrestler, it can be, everything in between. So frame is the bigger package that is built up on the image schema. Image schema is the fundamental, very core of a particular understanding. It can be about movement in space. So we have source path goal. It can be about containing things. That is another image schema, very, very useful. Another would be orientational. So up is good, down is bad. So if you have that image schema in your mind, you can easily understand prices are going up. Prices are going up, money more is up. Prices have gone down. So, you see a lot of memes in terms of how the LPG prices have gone up. So more is up. Similarly, if you were, I am feeling down a bit today. Somebody is feeling down. So down is negative, up is positive. So more is up, less is down. So this is another sort of an image schema. So image schema is nothing but a fundamental schematic representation that can explain a lot of experiences. An image schema is the core of embodied understanding of life. Embodied because, for example, we will never understand the concept of in, that is containing, if we had not, if we do not experience those things. So we know there are body parts inside our body. Then similarly, we can sit inside a room. The room can be in a bigger building. So all these things we need to experience physically in order to understand this. I hope I have made myself slightly clearer.
Yeah, clear. Right now, ma'am, another question is, while you were teaching frames, in the second slide, you have used case grammar.
Yes, go ahead, please. Yes, it's audible. You just
yes,
go ahead.
While you were teaching frames, ma'am, in the second slide you have said about case grammar. I couldn't get that, ma'am. Meko samajh nahi aaya case grammar.
What else was there in the case grammar? Are you talking about Fillmore?
Sorry, ma'am.
Are you talking about Charles Fillmore's concept of frame?
Yes, ma'am. Charles Fillmore.
Charles Fillmore. So he is the first person who actually started this whole understanding of frames. Frames, as in he talks about the frame of transaction, for example.
Yes,
that case grammar, I right now don't exactly remember what example I had given. But Fillmore is responsible for competition, the understanding of competition as a frame. So competition can be considered as a frame because it invokes, it immediately brings to your attention a lot of different sorts of experiences, different sorts of transactions, different types of people, different types of events. So elements and events both are part of that. So this is the fundamentals on the basis of which he has built up the story.
Yeah, this page I couldn't get that.
It's a little ulta. Can you? I have to. I have to. Yeah. Can you just? No, it is still. You have to turn it to the left. Yes, perfect. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So all these things, basically he brings up the story about, he creates the story about frame with the help of case grammar. So deep cases and the verbs, adjectives, noun, this and that, they all are part of that frame, the entire bigger story of that we create. Yes, can you just take it, scroll a little down or something? Yeah, down. This is up, now down. I mean, I want to see it down, so you have to scroll it up. Sorry, you have to move it a little up, a little bit more.
अब अभी दिख पा रहा मैम आपको?
देख तो पा रहे, लेकिन अब फिर से उल्टा हो गया.
अभी मैम अभी
हाँ, अभी सीधा है. थोड़ा सा ऊपर कीजिए उसको, नीचे वाला पार्ट दिख नहीं रहा.
और सॉरी.
हाँ, और थोड़ा सा ऊपर, ये तो और थोड़ा सा लास्ट पार्ट नहीं दिख रहा. Human beings are capable of who did it? What changed? Yes. So these are basically all valency argument, valency as in the answer to these questions. If you ask the verb, if we who did it, what happened, how was it done, and so on, like the typical questions that are typically taught in schools. That is exactly how he put it. Case grammar, he put it that way. So not to worry much about it. Frames basically in terms of Fillmore's frames. His most famous understanding of frames, most famous theory of frames was with respect to competition, where he says that if you ask different questions, you get a different, you highlight, you front, you foreground a different aspect of the entire scenario, in the entire frame. So for example, who? So if in the competition frame, if you ask who sold the car, then you have one particular aspect of the frame highlighted. Who bought the car? Another. How was the car sold? Another domain. So basically asking different questions. So valency takes you to the different aspects of a frame. That is what is the basic understanding. Frame is nothing but the bigger picture, the gamut of, see, for example, not all the aspects of frame can be really put forward by just using case grammar as well. So it can get more and more complicated. At that time, these things were not there. Experimental studies were not part of linguistics that time. But now we know, for example, if you are a bilingual or a multilingual, your frames will change a lot. So if you are a Hindi speaker, let's say you started off as a monolingual Hindi speaker, then you learned English, your frame about a particular concept will actually, get, what do you call it, enriched. And there are very interesting studies on categories, even category is changing. So yes, so this is the idea of a frame. So valency basically helps you foreground certain aspects of the frame, which is also called highlighting. In today it is called highlighting. Some people call it foregrounding. That's it. That's all. Simple.
हम लोग वो जो PDF है सारे वीडियोस का, क्या वो हमें मिल सकता है मैम? एक्चुअली मुझे ना हर स्लाइड का स्क्रीनशॉट लेके उसका प्रिंट आउट लेना पड़ता है, ताकि क्योंकि मेरे को ना वो ऐसे मोबाइल वाला समझ नहीं आता, मुझे अच्छे से हार्ड कॉपी में समझना होता है. तो इसी के लिए मैम
I understand this question has been put forward by others as well. But actually I don't decide these. These are technical issues that NPTEL handles. Maybe you can write in the forum so that somebody takes it up from the technical side.
मैम मैंने 3-4 times लिखा मैम, किसी ने कोई रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं किया मैम.
Oh, okay. I'll try and talk to the relevant officials, and let's see if something can be done on this. But the videos are downloadable. but I don't know if the slides, I really don't know. I will try and put forward your question to the relevant people.
आपके वीडियोस को पॉज करके स्क्रीनशॉट लेके फिर उसका पीडीएफ प्रॉपर फॉर्म में लाना पड़ता है, फिर जाके अच्छे से पढ़ो मैम। जैसे कि एक और स्लाइड है मैम, आपको दिखा रही हूँ अभी, ये वाला आप देख पा रहे हो मैम, एम्बॉडीमेंट एंड इमोशन मेटाफर्स।
हाँ यस, टेढ़ा है बट समझ में आ गई बात।
हाँ जी मैम।
यस यस
उसकी भी जो कुछ था ना, एक्चुअली आपका उस ये वाला जब आप मेटाफर्स वाला वीडियो देखोगे ना मैम, तो आपका बहुत जगह पे पॉज करके आ रहा है। तो उस समय ना ये जो एम्बॉडीमेंट एंड इमोशन मेटाफर्स है ना, ये सब समझा नहीं मैम अच्छे से ये सब वाला।
अच्छा, emotion, actually emotion metaphors are, the fundamental thing is that emotion metaphors are heavily dependent on bodily, experiences, and experiences in the sense, typically there will be some body parts that will be utilized. जैसे मान लीजिए, I'm not a native speaker of Hindi, so initially I found it very funny that jigar ka tukra, for example. In Hindi, jigar ka tukra is somebody who is really close to you. So typically used for children. So wo mera jigar ka tukra hai. So jigar ka tukra, jigar is actually liver that I got to know much later in life. And so the liver is of course one of the most important bodily organs. And that is why it is the seat of emotion. So the metaphor is based on this particular fundamental understanding that jigar is probably the most important after heart and lungs and brain. So if somebody is a part of your jigar, that is how important that person is to you. So what we mean by this is that the embodied, so you feel with your body. Similarly, eyes are used for as a source for various metaphors. Similarly, naak kat gaya. So naak is somehow, the naak bechara has the responsibility of carrying the honor. So naak agar kat gaya, to इज्जत भी चली गई, I don't know. My Hindi is bad. So this is what we mean by the embodiment and the connection of embodiment with emotion metaphors. Emotion metaphors are heavily dependent on embodied understanding. So dependent on the body, physical body. So various parts of the body, either it is eyes or nose or face as such as well. Similarly, the head of the family is the most important person in the family. Right? So this is how we connect the body as a seat of emotion, as in body parts as a seat of emotion. Yes, this is true for, this is almost universal.
Yes, ma'am. और उसके बाद आपने दो slides use करे मैम, एक में जर्मन होगा, एक में इंडोनेशिया. I'll show you.
Yes. There are some examples. I have used them to show that these things are typically almost nearly universal. So head is used as the most important thing in a particular organization because head is the most important thing in the body. Similarly, head of the organization. Then there is the idea of eye of the storm. That is the center of the storm, like this. Even in Indonesia, Japanese is the most beautiful examples come from Japanese with the use of the stomach, the belly. So because in Japanese, you might be knowing that the belly is the seat of honor. Unlike us, we have a nose. So naak katne se bhi you can probably survive, but if your belly is open, you will not survive. And that is where exactly harakiri comes into play. That is why when the disgrace has fallen on somebody, typically a samurai or a noble person or somebody, then that is how they end their life. So these are various languages in the world that make use of this.
Metaphors, this is what you want to say.
This is integrated, yes.
ये slide भी नहीं समझा मैम, मेरे को ये भी नहीं समझा.
Pictorial metaphors actually are they come in different types. So there are theories of pictorial metaphor. The one you are showing right now, the coffee machine wala, is they have the authors have put it as an integrated. So what we will notice here is that unlike the spoon in the cream or the tiger holding a gun, here there is no other outlandish thing in the picture. It is just the coffee machine and the cups. right? So they are not trying to, incorporate things that are not naturally a part of the object, but the object itself has been slightly modulated in such a way to give you that feeling. So the coffee machine, as you can see, वो थोड़ा सा झुक के है, like a butler.
Yes,
it is at your service. So
yes,
this is creating the gesture. This gesture is nothing but the overall experiential, feeling, the entire feeling that it creates. The moment you see somebody thoda jhuk ke khada hona, and then you see that this is somebody at your service. So the coffee machine is at your service. In this kind of a pictorial format is called the integrated format.
Okay, ma'am. और ma'am,
just a name.
Yes, ma'am. और ma'am, जब आप वो पढ़ा रहे थे ma'am, language acquisition, then ma'am आप ये जेरोम ब्रूनर के बारे में आपने बताया था ma'am. ये वाला बस मुझे एक बार समझा दो ma'am, please.
Jerome Bruner, actually there are so many thinkers and so many writers and scholars that have worked, but many of them have emphasized that the stages that a child goes through for learning language, in this case the first language acquisition. So there is a sensory motor stage, then there is a social stage, and there are so many other stages like that. So wahi hai, in fact even Piaget talks about a sensory motor stage. Bruner takes a slightly different but more or less similar take on that. So there are stages. There are psychological stage. There are sensory motor stage. So the first stage for a child before pre-verbal stage is the sensory motor stage, where you will see the children are trying to experience everything around their own surroundings. So that is when they understand how to negotiate the space around themselves. That is entirely sensory motor. The input is entirely sensory motor. They are not using any psychological construct at that stage. And gradually, by the time they are 2 years, 2.5 years, they are reaching the pre-verbal verbal stage. They start speaking. Of course, it is not entirely watertight. Some children speak before, some children speak later. But this is exactly how. So all of these scholars, whether it is Piaget or it is Bruner or Vygotsky, many people have given their this one. So what is primarily ये समझना है कि what are the stages that they have talked about and what are the most important thing that influences that stage of information. So does language precede certain kinds of experiences, or experiences precede language? What is the role of the environment? What is the role of, for example, if you, the human child, the brain also grows after birth, unlike many other animals. So the brain growth is happening, your physical growth is happening, your language becomes at a much later stage in terms of in the temporal scale. So by the time your language is you're beginning to speak, all these things are already in place. That again is in connection with the socio-cultural environment. So Bruner ko alag se nahi dekhna hai. You have to see Bruner also in terms of what Piaget has said, what Vygotsky has talked about. Also, last but not the least, how Chomsky talks about it. So different people have put different amount of importance on various input systems. For example, Chomsky said it will anyhow develop. Language is something that doesn't depend on anybody else, very independent, very self-sufficient fellow he or she is, like that. तो उसको इस तरह से समझना है, then you will find it easy. So just compare. I think I did I include a chart comparing the different scholars?
Yes, ma'am. But Bruner नहीं है मैम, उसमें सेलर है और भी व्योत्स्की है, ये सब है, वो ब्रूनर नहीं है मैम.
Bruner nahi hai probably because I did not include, because he is एक representative scholar को रखा है उसमें. So if there are similarities, then I have just probably not included. So it's okay.
और मैम जब आप लैंग्वेज एक्विजिशन पढ़ा रहे थे मैम, तो उसमें एक आपको दिखाती हूँ, मतलब थियोरेटिकल स्टैंड पॉइंट्स था मैम.
Yes, go ahead.
यस मैम. और जो सबसे पहला जो इंट्रोडक्शन वाला वीडियो था मैम वीक 1 में, यहाँ तो वहाँ पे बिहेवियरिस्ट और इंपीरियलिस्ट के बारे में मतलब अलग बताया गया मैम। और जब लैंग्वेज एक्विजिशन पढ़ाया गया वहाँ पे बिहेवियरिस्ट, नेटिविस्ट और कंस्ट्रक्टिविस्ट तीनों को मेंशन किया गया था मैम। तो वहाँ पे बिहेवियरिस्ट को अलग बताया गया मैम।
Behaviorists are different. Behaviorists are those people who, in terms of language acquisition, they are those people who believed, for example, B.F. Skinner is one of their foremost proponents, theories. So he talks about language being taught, like Pavlov taught his dog, he conditioned his dog to by using that particular experiment. So similarly, language is something that you can teach a child. So बार-बार वो stimulus दे के and then you give a stimulus, वो सही बोलेगा तो you give a wrong, you tell them no, it is not right, it is, you give a negative feedback and then they learn. So this is a stimulus response system. That is what behaviorist theory talks about. Constructivist, on the other hand, says that it is not entirely dependent on what you give, but also what the child constructs. Child has a role. The human agent, the agenthood has to be respected. That is constructivist. And then you have Chomsky's followers who will typically talk about that it is neither, there is this poverty of stimulus, there is no amount of teaching that can take care of all the output that a child is capable of giving out. So that is, it is entirely dependent on the mastering the rules rather than stimulus one by one, mastering the stimulus one by one, because you can never ever teach all the sentences. And also the permutations and combinations, this is not possible. And also they don't really have give much importance to the human agent. It is apparently something, it's like a software that takes care of itself. So these are the differences. In fact, there are many more, but I have not included all. These are the most, what do you call, representative ones.
Okay, ma'am. बस इतने क्वेश्चंस थे मेरे मैम, और जो कुछ है वो मेरा क्लियर हो गया एक्चुअली। आपने जो बताया ना उससे मेरे सारे पॉइंट्स क्लियर हो गए। थैंक यू।
That's good, Priyanka. Okay, I didn't see anybody new joining.
मैम, am I audible?
Yes.
मैम एक्चुअली ना मुझे ये बोलना था कि जितने भी असाइनमेंट्स होते हैं मैम, उसमें एक क्वेश्चन ऐसा जरूर से डाला जाता है ना जिसको वो बहुत ब्रेन टैक्सिंग होता है, उसको मतलब बनाते ढूंढते रहो और वो मिलता नहीं है मैम। मैम तो वो थोड़ा सा हो जाता है।
That is the point.
Yes, मैम। मेरे सारे अच्छे रहे मैम, मेरे सारे 85 एबव रहे सारे असाइनमेंट्स में मार्क्स मैम। और तो जैसे कि वीक 7 में जो अभी वीक 6 का मैंने कल असाइनमेंट सबमिट किया मैम, 6 अप्रैल को लास्ट डेट है। उसमें भी एक क्वेश्चन था मैम कि अवेयरनेस ऑफ पोजीशन इन स्पेस इन ऑल डायरेक्शन साइमल्टेनियसली इज कॉल्ड, और ऑप्शंस हैं स्पेशियल एक्यूटी, मेंटल रोटेशन, बॉडी अवेयरनेस, विजुअल स्पेटियल अवेयरनेस। और जबकि ये मैंने वीडियो चौथी बार देखा मैम, मुझे कहीं इसका आंसर नहीं मिला, कहीं भी नहीं।
कभी-कभी क्या होता है, we some of the questions तो वो एक दो ही रखते हैं, otherwise we will find them all present directly there. Spatial acuity is something that you are aware, your awareness, इसको kind of वो बोलते हैं ना sixth sense or sort of also. So your body also has an understanding. It's not only the brain, conscious brain. In fact, इस पे अभी काफी studies भी हो रही है. For example, I don't know if I'm digressing a bit, but this probably will make sense to you. Often what happens, some people, they leave a particular place just before an accident occurs. Sometimes you were sitting under there are many instances like this. You were sitting under a shade and then you suddenly walk out and then the shade collapses just as you move out. So there are theories now, of course, that's something we have not covered here. It's not part of language cognition, that is why. But this is something that features, the spatial acuity features in many other domains of research, that the body, even before the mind really consciously processes the surroundings, the information coming from the surroundings, body itself has its own consciousness. It has some people use a different name for this. Some also call it sixth, seventh, or seventh sense. I don't know which, but this body picks up signals from around yourself. But that's not something we have talked about here. Spatial acuity is being aware of your surroundings. The body schematic, that depends on body schema. So ये है कि there will be at least one question like that which you will have to थोड़ा सोचना पड़ेगा, you know, थोड़ा सा ये करके, it may not be there एकदम उसी format में, but it is there, the information is there somewhere.
अब तो बस मेरा बस 2 वीक का, मैं कोशिश करूंगी अगर वहीं पे आंसर्स है तो मैं डेफिनेटली खोज के डाल दूंगी और सारे सही कर लाना.
Yes, that's the spirit, Priyanka. I really like you.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Actually, जो आपकी टीए है ना शालू मैम,
हाँ,
यानी वो मेरी जूनियर रही है बनारस हिंदू यूनिवर्सिटी में.
Okay,
Yes,
great. Yeah, Shalu is a bright student. Yeah.
Yes.
She has joined me recently.
Yes, ma'am. She only informed me about this course. उसने ही मुझे inform किया मैम इस कोर्स के बारे में.
अच्छा. So are you doing a PhD or?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, Patna University से I'm doing that, ma'am. But मेरा सब्जेक्ट मेरा इंग्लिश है मैम, और मैंने लिंग्विस्टिक्स अपने ग्रेजुएशन में और थोड़ा सा मास्टर्स में पढ़ा हुआ है.
Okay, wow. So you still have the interest level. That's a big thing. That's really heartening.
Yes, मेरे को बहुत पसंद है लिंग्विस्टिक, बट प्रॉब्लम यही है कि मतलब पहले मुझे पता नहीं था कि इसका इतना ब्राइट फ्यूचर है, और फिर मुझे मतलब लगा कि बहुत लोगों ने कहा नहीं, बहुत स्कोप नहीं, ऐसा नहीं वैसा नहीं, वरना मुझे इंटरेस्ट बहुत था. मेरे लिंग्विस्टिक में सबसे ज्यादा मार्क्स रहते थे हमेशा.
अभी तो बहुत है. I mean, there is a lot of scope these days, and in all disciplines of linguistics, of course. But मैं अपने बारे में ही बोल सकती हूँ, because we study language from cognitive science perspective, and cognitive science as a domain has enormous क्या बोलते हैं opportunities, not only in terms of job, but also in terms of research. That is more important, because you can connect so many different things if you look at language from this perspective, and it really has a lot of opportunities. Like researchers are opening up new vistas every other day. It's a very bright domain now. Yes, so it has good future, and with the contributions from the younger generation, we really look forward to making it a big deal in India as well.
Yes, ma'am.
So students are our hope.
Yes, ma'am.
Very interesting work is happening actually, if we look at it in India.
Exactly, क्योंकि इतना कुछ ना हमारे ग्रेजुएशन और मास्टर्स के टाइम में नहीं पढ़ाया गया था, और अभी जब मैंने इतना पढ़ा तो मुझे अब इतना इंटरेस्ट आ रहा है कि आप जो रेफरेंसेस में जो आपने बुक्स बताया ना कि ये बुक्स अच्छे हैं, वो बुक्स अच्छे हैं, सारे मैं परचेज करके पढ़ूंगी.
So nice to know, Priyanka. Yes, this actually what has happened is, this is cognitive science itself is new. 1950s में वो हुआ था. India में आते like everything else, it has taken a few decades. So now around 10 years or so, India has been producing a good deal of research. Like many IITs, some of the top universities are doing very good research and carrying out very extraordinary work in this domain. So it's been not too long actually, a decade or so, but it is growing in leaps and bounds. I mean, things are really changing very, very fast.
Yes,
so yes, I agree. It was not there before. Even when I was a student, nothing of this sort was ever there. Nobody taught us. So, but things are changing now. Yes, for the better.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so nice to meet you, Priyanka. I hope your interest remains intact and you continue studying in these areas. alongside your PhD.
And a big thank you to you also, मैम. मेरे को जब मैंने ज्वाइन किया ना, I was really lost. मेरे को लगा कि पता नहीं इंटरेस्ट आएगा कि नहीं करूँ. But the day I saw your first video ना, मेरे को लगा कि नहीं, ये मैम मेरे को कर देगी अच्छा लिंग्विस्टिक्स में. फिर मैंने बोला नहीं, मैं तो कंटिन्यू करूंगी. और मेरे को बहुत अच्छे से समझा. और अभी तक मैंने सारा वीडियोस किया है, सबके स्क्रीनशॉट लेके मैंने PDF सबका बना के अपना घर पे आराम से पढ़ती हूँ. ताकि वैसे आपकी YouTube पे वीडियो सारे पोस्ट हो चुके हैं IIT के उस पे चैनल पे. बट मेरे को फिर भी लगा कि नहीं, मैं थोड़ा सा ना वो टेक्नोलॉजिकली ऑफ ट्रैक हूँ. मेरे को तो अभी भी हार्ड कॉपी में ही समझता है.
Yeah, hard copy is, I also feel comfortable with hard copy because it's easy to negotiate that. But वही है कि जमाने के साथ चलना पड़ता है.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
है ना? Yeah, so nice to hear from participants like you who find it useful and interesting. It gives us a lot of encouragement.
मैम जो फाइनल पेपर रहेंगे उसके फॉर्मेट्स भी सेम रहेंगे जैसे असाइनमेंट के रहते हैं, या फिर उसका कुछ अलग पैटर्न रहेगा मैम?
Mostly same. Majority of it will be MCQ types, but there are a few questions at the end which जहाँ पे थोड़ा लिखना पड़ेगा. But short answer, like we have mentioned it to a maximum 200 words. But even if you don't write 200, 150 भी चलेगा. But the rationale behind giving you subjective questions is that how to see how the students have been able to understand and how they can connect the dots. And कुछ concepts भी clear है कि नहीं, because MCQ में ना पूरा पता नहीं चलता. कभी-कभी मतलब लगा मतलब ठीक से हुआ या नहीं हुआ. You might know, but you might be confused. तो वहाँ तो option ज़्यादा है नहीं. But when you write it down, ना, when you write it down when you explain yourself, there are no as such thing. There we get to know कि हाँ समझ में आ गई बात, and he or she has been able to explain. तो वो option खुला रखने के लिए ही we have added some subjective questions. तो थोड़ा बहुत है towards the end, ज़्यादा नहीं है. I don't think marks का है, but not much. Majority MCQ ही है और same pattern follow करके.
ओके मैम. 25th को पेपर है मैम, मेरे घर के पास में ही है तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. और
ऑल द बेस्ट.
थैंक यू सर, मैंने बहुत अच्छे से प्रिपेयर किया मैम. मैं बिल्कुल से आपके सर्टिफिकेट में एलाइट कोर्स वाला लूंगी पूरा से. एलाइट कोर्स है जो 60% से 80% तक जिनका रहता है ना मार्क्स, उनको एलाइट सर्टिफिकेट मिलता है. मैं कोशिश करूंगी एलाइट सर्टिफिकेट लूं.
All the best. I hope you will get. You interest से ही सब कुछ होता है. Once somebody has interest, the rest is taken care of. है ना?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. All the.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I don't think there is anything. So do we wrap up or IIT Guwahati CET representatives, please?